Party time, very nice. her vagine hang like sleeve of wizard. There's a little Borat reference for you guys. I decided to put together this free training, and you guys had so many good questions, I decided just to, all of them kind of centered around growing an agency, getting clients, keeping them happy, mindset, all those kind of things. So I decided just let's do them all and put them together in the order you guys asked them. So, or this isn't the order you guys asked them, but I put them together in a little bit of a logical sequence. So let's get into it. All right. One of you guys asked about your challenge, finding a niche. Here's the deal with finding a niche, okay? You need to be about somebody. So a lot of times people ask, what should my niche be? What should I offer? And it's not about a what. It's a who. Who should you be doing this for? And there's really only 3 broad niches that you can start with. Brick and mortar. I personally like dealing with brick and mortar. E-commerce, selling physical products online, or services, you know, the coaching, consulting, things like that. That's really it. And what you're going to do, I recommend when you pick a niche, take one of those broad things and go at least 3 levels deep. You can probably go 4, but the more specific, the better. So what you want to do is start with one of those broad niches, find the one that you like doing, and you want to specialize in a type of client within the broad niche and have a delivery vehicle. Like, say, I do Facebook ads for dentists, okay? Now you want it that's not, by the way, nearly specific enough for a niche. So a lot of people stop at step 2, and you got to go at least 3 levels, probably even 4. And what I suggest is picking the $100 niche in there. So you want to develop your system around the $100 niche. Now, some of you guys have heard me talk about the nickel and the $100 bill. Let me just, I forgot my mouse here, so clicking's a little bit awkward here. Understand that clients is a continuum. In a continuum, we tend to think of, like, when we create it, like, we just say to people, you want more clients, you want more patients, you want more customers. More customers are not created equal. So this is the thing. In every niche, there's something I call the nickel and the $100 bill. And the nickel is all the low-value, cheap stuff. So I used to work a lot in plastic surgery. Believe it or not, boob jobs, like getting breast implants, are nickel work. It's like it's really, really cheap. It's really, really commoditized. The doctors don't really make any money. So if you bring them a lot of that, they're kind of unhappy because they work real hard and don't make any cash. Then there's the $100 specialty work, which in that niche is like the mommy makeovers. They make a whole bunch more money. It's more value to them. Inside of every niche, doesn't matter what it is, there is the equivalent of this. So we mentioned dentists. A lot of people think if I bring a dentist more patients and I get them $99 checkups, they're going to be happy. No! We want to bring them the $100 specialty work, $300 or $35,000 implants. By the way, just from a purely money math, this is 350 times more valuable than this. Which means if you're like just talking dollars, this, you're going to have to bring people 350 patients just to get one of these. And by the way, it is not 350 times harder to get one of these. The $100 niche. Also, never mind, it's going to be 350 times more effort and things like this. So you want to keep clients happy. You want to justify higher fees. Then specialize in high-end work. And this is true in every niche. So if you're dealing with coaches and consultants, for example, they may have a $97 front-end course, and they may have a $48,000 mastermind. Which one do you think they want to sell? The numbers may be closer together if you're doing e-commerce. They may have a $20 plastic trinket, and they may have a $199 a month ongoing supplement offer. Which one of those do you think they want to sell more of? So always, 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 we want to start with that broad niche, specialize in a type of client and your delivery vehicle, and then narrow down to the $100 sub-niche, and that's what you want to be about. You'll make your life so much easier, and by the way, it gives you a lot of room to be wrong on your ads. Like, for example, when I bring a client like an $80,000 case for a lawyer, if I spend 10 grand to do that, they're really happy. If I spend 10 grand to get them a $99 checkup, they will be deeply unhappy with me. So you want to develop your own system around the $100. That's the biggest secret I can give you a niche. And it doesn't matter what niche you pick. Just pick one, because there's pros and cons to every niche. You're never going to get it perfect. But I will tell you as a little pointer is, where do your specific experiences benefit you? If you have, specific experiences, like for me, I never worked in a law firm, but lawyers tell me they're stuck in pointless meetings. They have unhappy clients. There's a lot of bureaucracy and bullshit. I relate to all of those things because I've worked in those in my office jobs back in the day. So my specific experiences help me benefit them. I know some people used to work with their hands, then you should probably work with contractors. So you can also, by the way, as a bonus, include your personality elements. I've seen like Christian-only law firms, or if you're a woman, you might want to do for stay-at-home moms, or it could be 420 friendly if you're a stoner. But ultimately, what you want to boil your niche down to, and this is from Jeff Miller, is a little statement where I help a specific client type to get a specific quantifiable result without the thing they hate, and using your program. By the way, the key with all of this is specifics. When people get this wrong, it's because it's too general. I help business owners get more profit. That's too general. But if you say I help personal injury lawyers with law firms, or personal injury law firms with between 2 and 20 lawyers, attract high-end motorcycle cases without having to run expensive Google ads or SEO using whatever our program name is. So that's how you pick a niche. And do it. Don't take longer than a day to pick a niche. You can always change your mind later. Market research. How to spot specific problems within a niche. I think this is WAD. Without relying on assumptions. I did a training that's going to do a deep dive on that. It's called the Unfair Sales Advantage. I'll link to you. It's in this group. And I also put it on YouTube. I'm going to link to you on that because it does a deeper dive on this. But having said that, I want to give you a summary right here that you can use right now. This is the key realization, okay? The market problems, the things they're stuck on, the things they don't like, their challenges, that conversation is already happening. So you simply have to discover it and listen to it. And the way you do that is your market is already self-organizing into groups where they're talking about their problems openly in these little niche communities. So it is simply a matter of listening into these communities. This is the secret skill, the ears. And a lot of marketers do this backwards. I'm going to show you some examples in a second. But what a lot of marketers do is they try and come up with something they have for sale and then figure out how to sell it. But if you come up with the problems first and then build your solution around that, you'll have a lot easier time. So I'm going to show you the 5 places you can figure out what they want, what they're stuck on, what their problems without guessing. One is if you got real existing clients, ask them. By the way, it's very loud. I'm next to a street, but my Wi-Fi has been down, so I'm at a buddy's house using his. The challenges of working online. You want to ask existing clients if you got them. Now, if you don't have them, or you're entering a new niche or whatever, you can always go to Reddit. You can go to Quora. You can go to Amazon.com reviews, and you can go to Facebook groups. And you're looking for the generally thing. Here's what you want to know. So you want to know their biggest, most painful symptoms. So the worst part, I usually search for the phrase, worst part about blank. Worst part about running an agency. Worst part about being a lawyer. Worst part about being a dentist. You get the idea. And I'm looking for answers that got really, really upvoted where a lot of people agreed with him. So I'm going to show you some examples so you can see exactly what this means. And then I'm going to link to you that training so you can do a deeper dive on it because it really is an unfair sales advantage. So this is Cliff. He's a lawyer. By the way, you'll notice 68 upvotes, meaning a lot of other lawyers agreed with him. Unfortunately, the hardest part of being a lawyer by far are the clients, not the good clients who have reasonable expectations and who listen to your advice and take it as the learned analysis of a professional. No, I mean the clients who are in this on principle or think they know the law better than you or just want to make them hurt. Okay, I've used that exact phrase in my speeches, and I know it works because it got 68 upvotes. Now, this is interesting, right? If you're telling a lawyer, I'm going to bring you more clients, and he says the hardest part about the business is clients, do you feel the disconnect there? So there's a difference between saying, I'll bring you more clients, and say, I will bring you more clients who have reasonable expectations and who listen to your advice and take it as the learned analysis of a professional, and I will help you push away the clients who are just in this on principle or think they know the law better than you or just want to make them hurt. That's a much, much, much more powerful offer because market research told us so. All right, I got more examples here, clicking in slow motion. Dentist. Here were 2 examples, by the way, the top 2 most upvoted answers. What's the most difficult part about being a dentist? Again, I searched what's the worst part about being a dentist. Patients think we have 0 overhead costs. 102 dentists agreed with that. So if you're going to position your, hey, I'm going to get you high-end $100 deals, hey, you know how most patients think you have 0 overhead costs? Here's a great one, by the way. This one, second most upvoted, had 69 upvotes. Let's move my face over here. When you're doing a subgingival filling, a number 18, on a hefty elderly patient on a blood thinner, He can't seat back all the way because of back and neck issues and has a fat tongue and gag reflex. You recommend a crown, but patient be like, I got no money and I'm about to die soon. Just fill it, doc. So you have no choice but to cry and pick up your handpiece. You barely touch it, the gingiva, with your instruments, only to unleash the floodgates of fresh blood that gushes out onto your bonding. You try to keep the area nice and dry, but no amount of blah, blah, blah will save you from the bleeding. You think rubber dam will solve your problems, but no, the preparation is near the bone level. You do some poor man's crown lengthening because a patient can't afford anything expensive. It's only been 15 minutes and the patient asks you if you're almost done. He tells you that his previous doc would have been done by now. You finish the filling and your neck and back is achy. Your hair is disheveled and your morale is low. All this work for a low reimbursement insurance, which pays like $150 for the filling. Mr. Bossman takes 30% of your production. Your take home's $45. As you drive home, you question your life choices and wonder if you'd be happier doing real estate or cocaine and investment banking. Right? It's pretty hilarious, but it's pretty spot on, right? So again, if you're just showing up and saying, I'm going to bring you more patients, this is what he's imagining. If you say, I'm going to help you avoid those people like this, and I'm going to bring you the high-end specialty work, guess what? Your offer automatically gets more appealing. And you can use all of this, if you want, word for word. Let's just find... I got one more to show you guys here. You guys! Most annoying part of running an agency. I searched for worst part. Most annoying is pretty close, right? And this was the answer that had the most upvotes. Clients that don't call their leads in a timely manner. Oh, that's a good one. Then they say it's your fault the leads aren't working. Right? So if I'm going to position an offer, you'll notice, by the way, if you actually read some of the posts in this group, I use this stuff, right? I'm not guessing. I don't guess what you guys are interested in. I read, I listen, I follow that stuff. So that's how you do market research so you don't guess. And I will link to you that training that does a deeper dive on this so you can find those on your own. But it's pretty powerful. Am struggling to construct a date offer for running Facebook ads. How to give them a taste of what I'm doing, in this case running Facebook ads for them, without asking them to commit their ass from the get-go. Here's the deal with commitment, by the way. You can ask for big commitments from a client when you have a track record and you have proof and you have case studies, and you can say, talk to my 47 clients and they'll kind of vouch for me more or less. It's very hard to do if you're beginning it, and usually, even if you can go straight to marriage, I recommend a first date because it helps you feel out whether the client's actually going to be any fun to work with. So here's how I look at this. Restrict yourself in your mind, in your thinking, and go, hey, if I only had one day to get them a result, meaning like, okay, so today's Sunday, and I shouldn't be working, but I am for a little bit, but because I love you guys that much. If I only had Sunday to get a client a result, and by Monday the deal was already off, what would I do on a Sunday? And it may take you in real practice a couple of days, but you want to think about not giving yourself a huge time limit. Almost always that result that you're going to figure out, if you're going to get it to them in a day, is going to be achieved using the assets they already have. So that means you're going to use their customer list, or you're going to use their retargeting assets, or you're going to use their abandoned cart sequence. The idea is working closer to the sale. And remember earlier I mentioned the continuum part. And what a lot of people don't realize is sales is a continuum. So I'll give you an example in the personal injury space. Firstly, somebody's got to become qualified, which unfortunately means they usually get in an accident, something happens. Then they may go to a hospital or a doctor and find out that there's long damages. The insurance company may call them, and they may feel like they're getting a raw deal, and so they may start Googling lawyers, and they may check out a few options, and they may visit a few websites, and then they may even call one or two, and then they may check out their reviews, and this whole thing happens over months and months, right? So if we're talking about working close to the sale, we don't want to work with people who are strangers, who haven't even been in an accident yet, or just got in an accident and haven't even heard of the law firm. We want to deal with people who are already reading the reviews and people who've already visited the website and things like that. We want to work closer to the point of the sale, and that's how you get people quicker results. And the ultimate point of working closer to the sale is if they already just bought something, like a recent customer. Like if you think about McDonald's does this in the simplest way possible, where they say, would you like to supersize that? Right? If you're going to get a client a result quicker, you're going to have a much easier time saying, would you like to supersize that, or the equivalent in your niche, working right at the sale, than you are trying to get a stranger to come off the street and try McDonald's for the first time. So those things are what make the best first dates. And if you need to use Facebook ads, for that, it's probably going to be like a retargeting kind of thing. Having said that, you can always use this campaign. This is on the email list, and this is a real campaign. We've made clients 100 grand. This is the actual email. Thank you. You're an awesome client. We'd love the chance to help you again. We want you to think of us as your trusted advisor for life. That's why if you ever have another legal problem, call us first. Even if we can't help you, we'll recommend you somebody good. We can also help you find related professionals. It's no charge. We'll make sure that you, your family, and friends and other contacts are taken care of. It's just my way of saying thanks. Call the number below. Right? This is just the thank you campaign and all that. But why does it work? Because we're working closer to the sale. These are people who already hired this law firm. This is, would you like to supersize that? So that's how you set a first date. And when you know you can get somebody results in like a day or a couple of days, then it makes it really easy to sell because you're confident you can like deliver on it. A lot of people just say, hire me and we'll see how it goes. But powerful first date sets it up, and it sets it up for an easy sale for marriage too. This person said, my challenge is setting appointments. So when it comes to getting appointments, by the way, there's only two things that matter. And a lot of people do a lot of things that aren't these two things. You got to get in front of real people from your target market, like real human beings. And you got to make those people a meaningful offer. If you're not getting appointments, it's only one of those two things. You're not getting in front of real people. You're not making a meaningful offer. And as far as getting into front of real people, there's only two ways you can do it. If you got the money, use some paid ads. If you don't, find out where they go and go get in front of them. So there's basically two mistakes people make with setting appointments. Is they do things that don't get them in front of the people in the first place, or they offer something that I call as a Me Too, and Me Too's tend to be generic, bland, unappealing. Like I get pitched the same SEO, the same like buy my blog post links, PR 7, domain rank 50, give me $100. I get those pitches like every day in my inbox. So the most common examples I see, by the way, is people do things that are not getting in front of people. So they'll update their website. There's nothing wrong with updating your website if you're driving paid traffic to it and people from your target market are seeing it. But if you're just updating your website and only your mom knows it exists, you're wasting time. Figure out where your clients are. You can actually, by the way, I've seen agencies get up to 300 grand per month before having a website. So go get in front of those people. The other thing is what I see is just sending mass untargeted messages. Dear sir or madam, do you want SEO keyword research, blah, blah, blah. So don't do that shit. Like, think about saying something meaningful to the person you're intending to reach. Those are the only two things. You're either not getting in front of people or you're not making them an offer that is meaningful enough. You do both of those things, you'll have appointments. So I wanted to show you an example just so you could see this. This is in the appointment setting niche. These are two people, by the way, that I've worked with both of them. So this is the case. They're both doing the right thing by getting in front of the right people. So this person said, in case you need a good appointment setter, VA, lead generator, you can contact me anytime. I'm unemployed right now, so I can commit with you full-time. Here's my CV. Thanks. And this is kind of like Me Too, generic. Just says, like, hey, I'm any old appointment setter. And maybe they're better than that, but I'm just talking about the message. They say they're just offering, like, if you need any old appointment setter and you have availability, hire me, Me Too, blah, blah, blah. Very generic and bland. Now, here's another one. And by the way, this guy will get jobs all day long with this message. Hey, Frankie Finn, I'm looking for work as a virtual assistant. Before, I was working with a few seven-figure agencies, helped them with outreach, and usually booked 2 sales calls every single day. I wanted to offer a trial of my work where I can work for as cheap as $1.50 per hour because I would like to show you my appointment booking skill, and after a week you like what I did, we can bump it up to $3 per hour. If you don't like my work, you can straightforward let me know and I'll get back to hustle. Let me know if we can work together. But in other words, I can get you 2 sales calls a day for $1.50 as a little trial. Would you be interested? That's a powerful first date. It's specific, right? So these people are in the same niche. I just wanted to show you that because this is the difference. This person's going to get booked. This person's going to have a hard time finding work. And most of the people who hire him are not going to be like A players. So he's going to have a hard time delivering. By the way, a little hack. I learned this from a dating friend of mine. His name's Dave. And Dave crushes it with e-commerce, 7 figures, doing emails. But what he used to do when he used to have a course for online dating like 10 years ago. And he said, if you want to learn what it's like to be a pretty girl on a dating website, create a fake profile of a pretty girl and just see what everybody else is doing, and you can use that to your advantage. You can even make fun of everybody else's posts. So if you want to see what like all the dentists are doing, just like getting pitched, create a fake dentist profile on LinkedIn or whoever your target market is. Delete it after, like don't leave spammy profiles up, but leave it up for a couple of days and just let marketers pitch you. And you'll see what everyone else is doing, and you can know how to stand up from the noise by just doing that. So that's a little hack for you. I'd like to see a detailed onboarding sequence with the gifts you use and where you get them from. So there's, by the way, before I show you the gifts, I want to give you a little background, the principles, the psychology. There's two things you need to understand. One is there's a very real thing in, especially when you spend a lot of money, which marketing services are, called buyer's remorse. And buyer's remorse is like, what if I made a mistake and did the wrong thing? And it comes from this desire to not look foolish in the eyes of others. Like imagine you bought a timeshare for 20 grand and then find out you got ripped off. It would be embarrassing to tell your friends about that. It's the same thing with a marketing service, right? So this is the number one thing people do right after giving you money is they almost always waffle back into buyer's remorse. Should I have done that? What if it's a mistake? And the reason they have that is a lot of companies, they've had bad experiences with marketers that worked really, really hard to seduce them, and then after they got them into bed and made the sale, completely neglected, didn't matter, moved on to the next person. Second thing is, the number one reason clients leave, by the way, is not because you're not delivering results. In their own words, they've done surveys on this, and it's because they feel unappreciated and that you were indifferent to their business. So this is a key principle. Is the way we do onboarding is different than what everybody else does, is we do something called welcome aboard, which is onboarding, but it is done in a very, hey, I'm so happy to see you, we're so glad you're here, welcoming, like welcoming a guest into your house. So there's two goals with onboarding. Most people do the first one. It's get whatever info you need. I need access to your Facebook Business Manager. I need access to your AdWords. I need your website logins. I need your hosting. Whatever you need, right? Those kind of things. Most people check that box, but most people don't check the second box, which is to make them feel like their business is wanted and to reward the decision. So I'm going to show you the 5 ways we do it. So one of those is with a welcome gift. We send an edible arrangement salted caramel apple. I'll show you more on that in just a second. We send them a really cool welcome email. We send them a master referral letter by mail. This comes like a week later. We have a welcome Zoom call, which is like to get all their info off of Facebook Business Manager, whatever. We found in our niche, some of our guys are just older. You can sometimes just send them a video and tell them what to do, but we found our people are just old and they can't do that, so you got to handhold them through that. And we also create a welcome page. I'm going to show you some examples of this now. Okay, so welcome email. I want to show you, rather than give you our welcome email, I want to show you the one that inspired it for me. So this is CD Baby, a company that was an e-commerce giant back in the days of CDs. And they originally had a welcome email that said, it was very generic and bland. It just said, here's your order. Thanks for ordering. If for some reason it doesn't arrive, you can contact this customer service number. And they found it put in the customer's mind the idea that like your order may not arrive, that problems may happen. It was just generic, boring, and bland. So they decided to create a welcome aboard email. And this is the email they created. Your CD has been gently taken from our CD baby shelves with sterilized, contamination-free gloves and placed onto a satin pillow. A team of 50 employees inspected your CD and polished it to make sure it was the best possible condition before mailing. Our packing specialist from Japan lit a candle and hush fell over the crowd as he put your CD into the finest gold-lined box that money can buy. We all had a wonderful celebration afterwards, and the whole party marched down the street to the post office where the entire town of Portland waved bon voyage to your package on its way to you in our private CD Baby jet on this day, Friday, June 2nd. I hope you had a wonderful time shopping at CD Baby. We sure did. Your picture is on our wall as Customer of the Year. We're all exhausted but can't wait for you to come back. All right, that's welcome aboard. That's rewarding a customer decision. So have more fun with your welcome email. Play with it a little bit. Like, be funny if you're funny, or just, you know, make people feel welcome. Here's our actual master referral letter template, by the way. And this gets dropped in the mail. So it says, hey, how I can help your friends, family, and colleagues. Dear friend would actually have their name. I intend to do such an amazing job that you can't help but refer. I'd be grateful if you passed my info along. Here's how I can help you. I help blah, 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 what you need, here's how to contact us. So we fill in the details of that. And this gets dropped in the mail, so a client gets immediately the idea of referring us gets put in their head on day one. And we also do it in a way to say, you know, we're going to do an awesome job for you, right? Like that's the seed we're planting with that letter. So here's the actual salted caramel apple we send from Edible Arrangements. Edible Arrangements, by the way, they're so fucking fast. We usually get we get one of these with some cookies, and it costs about $40-50, something like that, and they're usually there within 3 hours, same day. So think about this. Your average client, they just signed up for a deal, and now they're thinking, did I just get ripped off? Did I just get hustled by another smooth-talking salesperson? Am I going to look stupid and foolish for this? Was this a mistake? And then all of a sudden there's a knock at the door. Edible Arrangements, are you client name? Yes, I am. Oh, we have this special gift for you. Oh, wow, there's this welcome gift, and we just wanted to say, welcome, we're so excited to have you. Wow, right? Like it has a wow effect. We've also experimented with sending handwritten notes from our entire team in the mail. And the notes are written ahead of time. We just add the client's name. So we write like 20 notes. The whole team signs all 20 notes. And then when the client signs up, it says, Dear Frankie, or whoever the client's name is. Here's a welcome page from our agency stuff. I'm showing Jeff's because I just created Jeff's, I don't know, like a week or two ago. So there's a whole page with sign-up details, but the first part of the page is about 10% personalized, and it's designed to welcome Jeff, right? Like we want to say, hey, we're rewarding their good decision because we know Jeff or anybody else that signs up with us is probably going to go through buyer's remorse, and we want them to feel like their business is wanted and appreciated, which it is, right? So like we do this with those 5 things. So those are the 5 things that we do to onboard. I would say most agencies do the one. I'm going to go back here just a second so you can see those 5 things. So the edible arrangement, the welcome email, a letter gets dropped in the mail, they get a Zoom call where we actually get the details. That's probably the most down-to-earth one, and they get a welcome page. And by the way, all of that is set up in advance, and it takes about 20 minutes. So that may sound like a lot of work, but it's all prepared in advance. I think I had some notes on this. Yeah. So this takes about 20 minutes. For those of you who aren't familiar with this term, SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure. We have a checklist. Every time we get a new client, fill out these 5 things, send them out. The other thing is it's staggered over time. So they get the welcome email right away. The edible arrangement takes a few hours. The letter that we send in the mail takes like a week to get there. The welcome call usually happens the next day or the next couple of days. The welcome page they see almost right away. So it feels like it's staggered over time. So it actually feels like 5 welcomes instead of 1, even though from our execution point of view, we execute all of that at once. So that's how we welcome people. In style, I might add. I know this is probably open-ended, dependent on company size and location and niche specific, but how do you determine what a client ad budget needs to be? How do you have that conversation with them and set expectations? So this one is really 2 different questions, 2 very good questions. It's broken into 2 pieces. One is like, how do you get them to give you the budget? And how do you set the expectations so you can succeed with that budget once you have it? So I'm going to handle those 2 separately. Okay, so the budget, I'm going to give you a couple of secrets with the budget. And this is the biggest secret I can possibly give you, is do not deal with companies that are not already spending money. So when we run ad campaigns, like personally, like when we run direct mail, I look for, are they already spending on AdWords? Are they paying for SEO? Do they buy websites? Do they do TV? Do they deal billboards? All those things. So I don't have to convince them to spend money. It's a lot easier to get a budget if you deal with companies that already have one than trying to convince one who doesn't have one to create one. So that's the biggest secret I can give you. You'll eliminate like 95% of your headaches if you deal with companies, if you specifically go out of your way to market to companies who are spending. Having said that, the answer is really just to work backwards from their goals. So like, for example, like, and the best thing you can do here is honesty. Is like, let's say you're working with a coach or a consultant and they want to sell one of their $40,000 masterminds every week. Just be real. Like, how much money do they need to spend to do that? Like, have that conversation with them. Like, hey, in order to sell a $40,000 mastermind, we need to spend $4,000 on ads every week. So that means, like, as a general rule for your budget, we're going to be at like $600 a day. Are you cool with spending $600 a day? Or whatever that is for you. It may be smaller number, but like the worst thing you can do is have a client show up, have a like the dip one toe in the water feel where they go, ooh, this is how they approach paid advertising. Ooh, the water's cold. I spent $50. Because those people won't succeed because they'll just pull the plug too soon before the ads work. And I want to give you one more big secret with this is always contextualize the cost of ads with the value because you'll make that conversation so much easier. So for example, if I say, hey, we're going to spend 10 grand this month on ads, they hear $10,000 going out. And that's an expense, and that meets resistance, and that means people will fight you on it. If you say, hey, if we spend 10 grand this month and get one $80,000 motorcycle case, would that be worth it to you? They say, yes, absolutely. Okay, then we're going to spend 10 grand this month. But that's a way easier conversation to have to contextualize it with the value. So never ever mention price without what they're going to get for that or what you intend to get them, because then it becomes an investment. And you always want to talk about your stuff like an investment. So that's how you deal with the budgets, is always, always, always contextualize with what they're going to get. So instead of saying like, you know, we need to spend $2 grand this month, you say we need to spend $2 grand this month so we can get 100 leads that should translate to roughly 3 customers at $2K or $3K, so you get $9K this month. Is that worth it to you to spend $2K to make $9K? Yes. So contextualize with value. As far as expectations about spending that budget, expectations in general are these 5 things. And I've recently added this 5th one. I used to only do the 4, but you want to talk to them about their results, the cost, the time, the communication, and what I need from you is. And the key with all of this is specificity. So a result is not, we're going to get you more clients. A result is not, hey, this could take maybe 6 months. So I want to show you an example, and I'll give you a real example so you can see what it looks like. So this is with our motorcycle stuff. In the first 30 days, we'll get you Actually, let me show you something first down here that is really helpful. A lawyer explained expectations to me so powerfully once. He said, if I tell a client that I think their case is worth 15 grand and we only get 10, that client thinks I'm the worst lawyer in the world. If I tell him I think we're going to get 10 and we actually get 15, he thinks I'm a hero and I'm the smartest lawyer ever. And that's expectations in general. You want to set expectations lower than what you can actually realistically achieve. So if you think you can get 15 grand, tell him 10 or tell him 7,500 and you'll be amazed. This is a real key to keeping clients happy, is putting expectations lower than what you're actually going to achieve in the real world. So in our case, we tend to get motorcycle leads for $5 to $10 all day, every day. So here's what we tell them in the result. Now, knowing we can get leads for $5 to $10 a day, and we can usually get like 150, 200 leads a month, we'll say, in the first 30 days, we'll get you motorcycle leads for under $20 each. With your budget, we expect around 50 to 100 leads. So when I turn around and say, hey, guess what? The leads are only $10 this month, and we got 180. Wow, that's 80 more than we thought we were going to get, and it's half the price. We're kicking ass. You get a high five. If I tell them $10 leads, and for some reason their market's 11, guess what? I'm the worst marketer in the world. So always set expectations lower. But notice that everything is specific there. Specific number of leads, specific results. All those things are spelled out. Specific first 30 days. Cost. Between our fee and ad spend, you're going to spend $5K a month. Remember, these are $80,000 cases, and we don't need a lot to move the needle. Facebook will bill you multiple times in the first few days to verify your credit card. It may seem a little crazy, but this is normal. Okay, so let's go back to this. We're telling them they need to spend $5K a month. That's outgoing. So again, we're going to contextualize that with value by saying to get $80,000 cases. And then letting them know that Facebook's going to bill them a lot, because they often do that, right? Like when you see a bunch of charges from Facebook, don't freak out. They're just testing your credit card. Time. We should start seeing our first few leads within a week. By the way, as soon as we turn on the campaigns, we usually see leads first hour or two. So I tell them in a week. And they go, holy shit, it's already working on day 1. Right? We're exceeding the expectations we sent. Communication, this one's just kind of really straightforward. We'll send you a Loom video explaining what's going on every second Friday. Every second Friday, you're going to get a Loom video. We'll show you how we're doing, what we're doing, why we're doing, all that kind of good stuff. That's how we communicate with clients. And then the inputs, hey, the only downside is we're going to have to jump on Zoom for 10 minutes so I can get your account set up. We'll share a couple laughs and we'll get it going. That's expectations in a nutshell. You do that, clients are happy. So I hope that helps you getting your clients to give you the budget and be happy about that and resist you less. Let's get into the mindset stuff. This was a little, I didn't know where to place this, so I just put the mindset stuff at the end. How to be in the game every day and achieve goals. I'll tell you, there's really two things that do wonders for the mindset. Your why, a meaningful reason why you're in business. And number two, the 6 miracle techniques, which comes from a book by Hal Elrod called The Miracle Morning. He didn't invent the techniques, but he just did a good job organizing it. So Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start With Why. I don't think you really need to read the book. It's not any more detailed than his YouTube speech. But be really clear about why do you want to achieve this. And you got to think deeper than just you. So what would that mean for you if you achieve this result? What would it mean for your family? What would it mean for your clients? Who else would be impacted? Why are all of those things important to you? And then I want you to look at the flip side of not achieving this, because that helps you solidify the why. What happens if it's not achieved? What do your clients lose? What happens then? Why would they want to avoid that? And then the secret for me is I imagine what happens if that problem is never ever solved. And so here's the key. Your why needs to be deeper than just money. Because what will happen is if your business just has a why to make money, every time you'll make money, you'll take your foot off the gas, and your income will just go up, down, roller coaster as you'll get lazy and all those things. Here's the thing with why. A lot of times people think why has to be like, I'm going to save the world and change the planet and end world hunger and eliminate pollution and get everybody out of jail and all those things. It doesn't need to be huge. It just needs to be meaningful. Small but meaningful why. So I'll give you 3 examples so you can see what a small but meaningful why is, and I'll give you mine. With lawyers, my why is really simple. I know that personal injury lawyers have had a lot of shitty experiences with marketers. I just want to give them a great experience. That's it. That's my why. With agency owners, with you guys, the truth is, and this is the honest to God's truth, I used to be you guys. I still am to a certain extent, but 5 to 10 years ago, all the stuff you guys are struggling with is the stuff I struggled with. And I never forgot what it was like. That's just how it was. And there was a period where I was sleeping on my girlfriend's couch. I had the asshole father-in-law, and he was like, you're a loser, go get a real job. And no one believed in me. No one believed in my dream. Everybody was kind of rooting against me and didn't want this business to succeed because they thought a job was the right thing to do. So I always feel like if I could just help one more person today with what I used to struggle with, that to me is worth it. I have no other motive. When I put out my book, I didn't want to save the world or impact millions of people. I'm like, if there's just one person out there dealing with what I dealt with, that would be worth it to me. We're also working on an influencer agency. And my why is really simple. I want to work with the biggest and best people in the world, the people who've inspired me for a decade and a half. And I just feel like adding my mojo to theirs can only bring more good to the world. So those are 3 whys, but you'll notice they're small but meaningful. I'm not trying to change the whole legal market. I just want to give these people a great experience. I'm not trying to change the whole agency space. I'm just if I can just help one more person who used to be me. And the influencer agency is probably a bigger, more legacy project, but it's hey, I want to work with the people who inspired me. So that keeps me going day after day. Now, the other mindset piece, techniques. A lot of people start with techniques. Don't start with techniques. Start with why. Hal Elrod says in The Miracle Morning, these are the 6 things that are proven to work again and again. They will always work. Visualization, visualizing your goals is already done. Affirmations, affirming to yourself that your goals are done. Journaling your thoughts out loud. Reading from great authors and books. Sitting in silence or meditation. And exercise. I do almost all of these every day, but I wouldn't say I do them every day. Some days, I just don't have time. But some form of these, even if you just do 1 or 2 of them for a couple of minutes, these are the things that'll keep your mindset sharp. So, make them a practice, the ones that feel good to you. Here's another one that's close to this. Resetting my mental thermostat, getting mentally comfortable with higher and higher levels of income without sabotaging myself. So here's the thing is, new levels mean new devils. I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase. But the devils are familiar. They're the same kind of devils exemplified. So I'll give you an example. Okay, when you first start, you're going to have imposter syndrome. And I see this where beginners will tell me well, if I get a client, I'm not really sure if I could help them. Like, who the fuck am I? I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, what happens if I get the client and I can't help them? So you would think after you've helped 100 clients that that would go away, and you would be wrong. You will think at level 100, who the fuck am I to have all this success, and what do I do to deserve all these clients? What if my systems aren't good enough to help 100 clients? What if I'm just bullshitting myself? What if I'm stealing business from somebody better than me who they would be better served going to? You will think those thoughts. That's imposter syndrome. Here's another one, money worries. In the beginning, I used to think I'm worried about money because I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. And I'd be really stressed out, like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to pay my phone? How am I going to pay my internet? How do I keep my software going? And I thought, once I get to 50 grand a month, I'm never going to worry about money again. I'll live way below my means. I'll be rich. And things will be fucking awesome. And you know what happens? The money worries just get bigger. And they looked more like, hey, I'm worried about money because payroll's $42,000 this month. If we don't close that big deal, I'm going to have to take 30 grand out of savings. How the fuck am I going to come up with 30 grand in the next week? So the money worries get bigger. Overwhelm. So in the beginning on level 1, I used to feel like, I feel overwhelmed trying to balance sales with keeping the 3 clients I have happy. I'd feel like, I got clients, I got to keep them happy, but then I got to make sales. Like, oh my God, it was so stressful, and I had phone calls. When you have a level 100, you feel overwhelmed because you got 30 employees and 100 clients who want things from you constantly. And your email and your phone's blowing up all the time. And not only that, people's lives depend on you because, this is how they feed their families and things like that. So here's the deal. I tell you all that because it's not about overcoming those emotions. They will come back, and they will come back bigger. So you're not going to be ever away from them permanently. What you do is you practice releasing the discomfort and the resistance over and over and over. And so you're never going to be 100% free of these thoughts and ideas and emotions and feelings. You just get better at dealing with them. So to your original question, resetting your thermostat, getting mentally comfortable with higher and higher levels of income without sabotaging yourself. When you're feeling overwhelmed with 3 clients, you got to just take a moment, step back, calm down, relax, and then approach it with a calm, relaxed state of mind. When you have 100 clients and 30 employees and you feel overwhelmed, you got to take a step back, calm down, breathe, relax your mind, and approach it with a calm state of mind. When you feel worried about, stressed about money, when you got 1 client, you got to take a step back and calm down and relax and do something that gets your mind clear. Go for a walk in nature, those kind of things. When you have 100 clients and you're stressed out, you got to step back, calm down, go for a walk in nature. So it doesn't change. So that's the good and the bad news. The bad news is you're never going to be over all those things. The good news is once you learn to deal with it at a small level, like for me, my capacity to handle craziness in an agency is a lot. So I'll give you an example. Right now, this really, really happened in our life. So Ilka, my lady, and her kids were out, and somehow they lost all my bank and all my credit cards and all those things, and that's how we pay for everything. I'm in Mexico. I bank in Canada. So in order to get my cards, I have to order them to my home address in Canada. Then I have to have a friend go pick up my mail, activate the card at the bank for me, and then express ship it from FedEx to here. They still haven't arrived. So that's been happening. So in the meantime, I have not been able to pay employees. I've got a whole bunch of employees. All my software and tools have been blowing up. And I would say at a stress level, I'm probably at a 1 or a 2 out of 10 about it. Why is that? Because I've dealt with crazier things than that. A much lower level. So when I'm dealing with it in a big way, I just, I asked some friends, could I use your credit card just to pay my employees because, I got cash on the way, but it doesn't do me any good today. They said, sure, no problem. I got my employees paid. No big deal. But in the past, those things would have been pretty debilitating. So don't let yourself get debilitated by it. Find a calm, centered place, release those unhelpful kind of things, and then get your ass back to work once you're calm again. And sometimes, by the way, in the beginning, it might take you a whole day or 2 days or 3 days to get yourself centered. That's okay. But as you practice this, you'll be able to get straight and clear, and usually in 5 minutes. These things won't stress you out like they used to. So that's my advice on that. Time management. more exactly priority management, what to do mainly and what not to do and how not to do it. Well, I'll give you what to do, and by out of that, like, everything you're not supposed to do will come out of that. Here's the deal, like, our business model is not really that complicated. Clients sign you up, you deliver some things for them, you send them reports. So for that reason, you're never going to have like more than 1 to 5 priorities at a time in a business. But which ones are priority depend on which stage you're at in the growth, and they change as the business grows. Okay, so I'm going to call this level 0, which I know when you ask the question, you're not at level 0 because you're badass. But nonetheless, some people in the group are, so I want to... For them, level 0, you really only got fucking 2 priorities. Pick a goddamn niche, get in front of clients and make offers. Everything else is a waste of time. Everything else is not priority. Updating your website is not priority. Designing logos is not priority. Having conversations is not priority. Posting in groups and asking questions is not priority. Pick a niche, get in front of clients, make offers. That's it. Everything else is secondary. And if you just do this one thing, you can move the needle very, very fast. You can go from like no clients to clients by... I've done it as quick as like 2 days, even when you're just starting. Okay. Then there is the stage 1 freelancer. And that's where you start having some clients and you have some stuff. And so this is typically a balance between getting clients and delivering on those clients. You'll alternate between those priorities. It ebbs and flows. So you still usually have to niche down in this stage, but now you want to like be more systematic about getting those clients, right? So you got to systematically get in front of those clients and make offers that get yes. And then you also have to deliver, and almost always this will ebb and flow. So like say you go a month without any new clients, then all you're focused on is getting new clients. That's the only priority. And then say you figure it out and you get 5. Well, immediately after you sign those 5, you're going to be stressed about delivering on those, and so your priorities will shift to delivering. And you'll almost always take your foot off the gas for getting new clients. And that's normal, by the way. But you're going to ebb and flow between those priorities depending on where you're at. But everything else is secondary. So I'll see people like, asking questions in a group, updating websites, trying to SEO, trying to write blog posts, trying to create content. If that content is not getting you in front of clients systematically and making offers, then that client is pointless. Or that content is pointless, rather. Stage 2, small team. I know that's where you're at, having asked this question. I'll tell you, stage 2 is similar to stage 1, but now you have to get things done the same way with a team. So you have the added wrinkle of having human beings that you need to do to execute your... So you still got to systematize getting in front of clients and getting offers that say yes. And usually that's the work you're going to be most focused on. You also have to bring in A players, people who can take the burden off of your shoulders. And you have to deliver and consistently get results. But there's a nuance here that's different than stage 1, is you have to have your employees help you achieve those results for clients. So if you've been running AdWords or Facebook ads or doing SEO, now your employees have to be able to deliver using your systems. And so there's the added nuance of doing those things. And again, these priorities will ebb and flow. If you don't have any clients, then you got to go get them. If you suddenly have 10 clients, then you may be dealing with onboarding new employees and getting results, right? So it'll ebb and flow depending on where you're at on any given day or week. Stage 3 is a manager. Most of you guys won't go much beyond this point. Stage 3 is similar, but what ends up happening is usually by the time you get to stage 3, everything's chaotic. And so you need your systems to do the heavy lifting. So you need your systems to get A players. You need your systems to get the clients. You need your systems to retain. And so what you're working on is less about individuals, and you got to work on systems and processes, and you usually need good reporting to know what needs to be worked on in this stage. And if anybody's at that stage, we should probably have a little private consulting chat, because this one is a tricky stage to even know what you're supposed to do and organizing it. But the priorities are going to ebb and flow between those things. So, for example, what's not a priority is just anything that falls outside of those things. It's not a complicated business model. Like if you're in beginning stage 1, like pick a niche. If you haven't done that, that's it. That's the only priority you got. Pick a niche. Everything else is a waste of time. You picked a niche, then you got to go get in front of those people and you got to make offers. Everything else is like... And you can only proactively do that 2 ways. You can do that organically, or you can run some sort of paid advertising. That's it. But you need to do that like with regularity and consistency. So I hope that makes sense. That's all I got for you guys in this free training. I just wanted to add, we're running a 90-day trial of the mastermind right now. I haven't felt like doing any like kind of one-off workshops. We've had a lot of busy stuff going on with land and all those kind of things. But if you're interested in that, it's $1,000 for a 90-day trial. And usually, depending on where you're at, if you're at least somewhere in the upper echelons of stage 1 or coming into stage 2 where you're going to start hiring people, we can usually make you that back plus a whole bunch more by the end of those 90 days. But of course, it's all guaranteed. If for some reason it's not a fit and doesn't work out, I'll give you the $1,000 back. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me personally. I'll send you a few details about that. You guys can check out a video and just see what it's all about. So hope that makes sense. And that's all I got for you guys in this training. And thank you guys for the awesome questions and ideas. And may the force be with you. We're going to go for a long little beach trip down to La Ventana.